Hey everybody, and welcome back to episode 4 of Legends and Loggers. Once again, my name is Zac Wohlstein, and I'm an outdoor television producer, and I'm joined by my co-host and brother,
Parker Wohlstein, and I'm a forester and a wildlife biologist.
Yep, and today we are focusing on a cryptid that is one that's not very well known. I don't know about you, Fuzz. I never heard of this before researching it today. I'd say it's even a deep cut within just the cryptozoological community, but today we are talking about the Blackbird of Chernobyl. So have you heard of this one before?
I hadn't until you threw it on our list of stuff to discuss. I had no clue about it. I didn't know if we were doing a raven or something else or what was going on here. All I saw was something creepy in Chernobyl, so that's excited.
Yeah, sounds pretty cool.
I'll take it.
First things first, before we dive into it, what you drinking, Fuzz?
I've got a Final Resting Place by Flying.
Oh, cool. And you got a Blackbird on it.
Yeah. I figured Blackbird of Chernobyl. I found something with the Blackbird on it. It's by Flying Tiger Brewery here in Monroe, Louisiana.
That's awesome. A local one, too.
Super local. It's a juicy, hazy IPA, which I know it's actually a double IPA, and I'm not an IPA guy. Generally, I find them pretty gross. I did have a Voodoo Ranger that I was like, ooh, I could drink this like straight up all the time. But yeah, I'm not generally an IPA guy. It just happens in the craft beer scene, so many of them are IPAs anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just like if they're going to be fun, like at least have fun names and whatnot, it's got to be an IPA for whatever reason. I wonder. Mine's actually a blonde. I don't have an IPA today. This one, I don't know if this is like a... Okay, so first of all, it's called Four Firemen's, because I'm going about it a different way. You focused on more of the Blackbird, I focused more on the Chernobyl. I wanted to pay homage to those...
Yikes.
Whoa, no, not like that, Fuzz. Pay homage to the people that gave their lives trying to clean up after the accident, you know?
Oh, I thought you were paying homage to the people that probably burned in a nuclear...
Burned in the fire? No, because like I don't know if you ever saw the show Chernobyl and whatnot, but there was a whole bunch of firemen that like went out there, some of which like chose knowing that they were going to die in taking care of this. And so yeah, this one's a little homage to the people that gave their lives to fix that mistake that the Soviet Union made.
If I'm totally honest, I don't even know what happened at Chernobyl. I know that there...
Well, hey, we're going to talk about it today.
I knew that there was a nuclear thing that happened, and now it's a no-go. Now it's a bad place to be.
Really, that's all you need to know about for like today's purposes for us talking about the Blackbird of Chernobyl. But we're going to touch on the actual story of it a little bit. But before we do, let's go ahead and crack these bad boys open.
I was about to say, we're about to forget.
Yeah.
Ooh, she's hopping out at me. Get it? Hops.
Nah. How is it?
Honestly, not bad. It's got a lot better aftertaste than a lot of IPAs have. I had one the other day, and it like made my tongue feel all weird, and it was gross. Nicole won't come near my mouth anytime I drink one of those. But this one, it's pretty mild on the super hoppy side. It's definitely juicier, has a nice flavor, but then there's like a little bit of sizzle kind of in the mid-range, and it's good. We'll take it, man. It's got that Blackbird. Woo.
Nice. I don't know if I would say it's hoppy, but this one's got a good bit of like almost foam to it. It's very... Maybe it is hoppy, actually. Then it's not bad. Definitely, out of the ones we've tried so far, this is on the bottom for me. Still appreciate the firemen, though. Both in Ukraine and everywhere. Firemen are great.
I still appreciate Blackbirds.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, shout out Corvids. Where my Corvid gang at?
Core gang.
Blue Jays included. Can't forget about them.
Oh, I like Blue Jays, yeah.
Blue Jays are in the family or genus Corvus. So they're like the closest thing to a blue jay is a crow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How about that?
Fun fact.
Look at that. You guys didn't think you were going to be coming here today learning about freaking ornithology or whatever. But here you are.
That's about all I know about birds.
Oh, well, that's all you're getting from the show, too. It's first and the last. All right, so let's jump into the Blackbird of Chernobyl. Like I mentioned a minute ago, I haven't heard of this legend before, but it was so fascinating to me because First of all, just the subject of Chernobyl, tragic as it is like a really, it's a really interesting topic to me. That this insane disaster, like one of the worst possible scenarios, like everything had to go wrong in order for this to happen, and it did. So that's just such a crazy situation, and to have a cryptid attached to it, I don't know. I was just super excited to learn about it. I do want to start off by saying this one is not anywhere near as well documented as our previous subjects, so this episode is likely going to be a little bit different. First, we're going to set the stage, then we're going to cover the creature, and then lastly, we're probably going to finish this one out with the story. Alright, so first things first, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, where this all took place. So construction began on the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in 1972 near Pripyat, Ukraine, and the plant itself began operation in 1978. The plant seemed to have been running smoothly up until about 1986 when a meltdown in reactor number 4 occurred during a safety test gone wrong due to many overlooked protocols and procedures. The result of this is known as the worst ever civil nuclear incident. Never before seen levels of radiation poured out from the facility, leading to thousands of people getting radiation sickness and evacuation of approximately 68,000 people from within a 30-kilometer or 19-mile exclusion zone. There was 500,000 people involved with their emergency response and an estimated 18 billion rubles, roughly 68 billion US dollars, adjusted for 2019 inflation, invested into cleaning up the incident.
Jeez.
Yeah,
that's
insane. And just because, I know we're not really talking about it in this podcast. So if you want to learn more about the Chernobyl disaster, I highly recommend checking it out.
And if you're into it, look at some of the botanical stuff that's happening there. The resurgence of botanical specimens and wildlife there is really fascinating.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on that a little bit later. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, from a botany standpoint, the Chernobyl stuff is really cool.
Yeah. And if you guys want to see more of what happened, by all means check it out. But less than 100 people lost their lives directly from the disaster, with thousands more potentially developing cancer as a result. And now I want to take a quick second to say that if you are interested in learning more about the Chernobyl disaster, or just interested in the disaster itself, I highly recommend checking out that HBO series, Chernobyl. It is a freaking great show. Have you seen that, Fuss?
Nope.
I can't remember how many episodes it is. I want to say it's only 5 though. It's like a mini series, and fantastic, super cool show. If you want to check out something new, highly recommend it.
Is it like a documentary or a drama or?
It's like a dramatization, if you will.
Gotcha.
It goes through the events of the Chernobyl disaster, both leading up to the disaster itself, and then the fallout afterwards and how they dealt with it. And it's just crazy. And you see the effect it actually has on people, and you see the firemen that work to clear up this, and what happens to the firemen. It's heartbreaking, and one of the most powerful shows I've ever seen. Absolutely, you should check it out. Anyways, we're not going to talk too much about the actual disaster, because we're just here to set the stage for where this cryptid takes place. Anyways, so humans weren't the only things that were impacted by the disaster. I found a source that claims that the mutation rates for plants and animals have increased by a factor of 20 because of the release of radionuclides from Chernobyl.
That sounds fake.
Yeah,
that sounds like a fake science.
Radionuclides.
The radionuclides are going out of control.
Yeah, that sounds like something you'd hear in a 1950s sci-fi movie. No, I don't know how to pronounce this, but I'm going to try. On farms in Narodichi? I don't know. Rayon. God, I'm sorry, guys.
Narodichi Rayon.
Yeah, okay, there we go. So from 1986 to 1990, nearly 350 animals were born with growth deformities such as missing or having extra limbs, missing eyes, heads, or ribs, or even deformed skulls. And in comparison, only 3 abnormal births were registered in the 5 years prior to the incident. So just a ridiculous shoot up in mutations and whatnot.
Well, still, but on the grand scheme of things. Oh, wait, no, that was over 4 years. I was thinking that was from then till now. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of deformity over that.
It's a good bit of deformity, especially compared to 3, if that source is accurate. But yeah. So now that is a hyper-condensed breakdown of the Chernobyl disaster. There's so much more that went into it, so much more that came out of the fallout, and so much more you could talk about around this topic. But there's other podcasts that are more historical based, and I highly recommend checking it out if you want to, learn more about the Chernobyl stuff. But for today's purposes, that's all we need to talk about. Now, moving right along, there was an archaeologist based out of Sydney, Australia named Robert Maxwell who completed 2 field excursions within the exclusion zone in 2010 and 2012. Now, while he was in the exclusion zone, he heard of the Blackbird of Chernobyl. And this is one of his quotes. The legend states that in the days leading up to April 26, 1986, that a supernatural creature was sighted in the sky over Chernobyl by many of the men in the control room. They also claimed to have seen this terrifying creature just before the explosion. It was described as being a hideous humanoid with a 20-foot wingspan, a black headless body, and red glowing eyes. Does that sound familiar?
It's motherfreaking Mothman showing
It's our
up.
boy!
I should add Chernobyl to my shirt that has Mothman World Tour.
Yeah, there you go.
Chernobyl, Ukraine, 1986.
Yeah. He heard about all the leftover metals that were left in Pripyat.
He said, "Well, shoot, they got all that copper just sitting right there. What are they going to do? Make power for somebody? I'm coming to get it."
And I'm going on a trip. I'll be back.
How many catalytic converters does it take to make a nuclear facility?
Okay, so yeah, it sounds just like our boy Mothman, and just like Mothman, this creature is known as being a harbinger of disaster. Though that begs the question of whether or not it was an omen meant to warn those in the area of an oncoming tragedy, or the cause of it. So those who saw this creature began having terrifying dreams and even started to receive threatening phone calls. And those phone calls also sound pretty familiar. You remember that?
Oh yeah, Men in Black.
Men in Black, dude. So now, just like a boy Mothman, it seems like this creature was a harbinger of disaster, though it begs the question of whether or not it was an omen meant to warn those in the area of an oncoming tragedy or the cause of it. Now, I wasn't able to find much more information on the phone calls, but my immediate thought is that it reminds me a whole lot of the freaking Men in Black again. For those of you that didn't see the Mothman episode, or just want a refresher, there are many reports of people who had encountered Mothman that were then visited by the Men in Black or also began receiving calls from the Men in Black urging them to not speak on the matters anymore, which is pretty scary. But I'm willing to bet that those type of calls are exactly the type of calls that the Blackbird witnesses were receiving too, because I really doubt it was like, the Blackbird itself calling and like bullying people over the phone or something.
That's
all I got there.
No, it was probably more like, no talk about this no more.
The Russian Men in Black?
No talk.
Well, I also like the idea because it said like terrifying phone calls, right? So I like the idea of like the the Blackbird calling him and being like, "Hey, you stink, and you're dumb."
That wouldn't be terrifying.
Yeah, I guess that would be terrifying.
It would be terrifying. It's like
that would just be bullying.
Well, I was gonna say like the Russian Men in Black just call and start doing like scary stories to tell in the dark.
Yeah.
Then she went into a basement. And in
Chapter
there,
1, the missing scarecrow.
Red glowing eyes.
Yeah.
They're just on the other end of the
phone. Yeah, just shaking. Like, it's the Men in Black, they're telling scary stories again. Just hang up the phone. It's like I can't, it's captivating.
It's really good.
It's scary, but it's incredibly well written. Many people have said that they believe that this creature is in fact Mothman. With these similarities in descriptions and this harbinger connection and these sightings taking place after the Point Pleasant sightings, I can definitely see why people would make this argument. Though one thing that's interesting about that though is that we talked about like the distance that Mothman was able to fly and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But the Atlantic Ocean, dude, that's a distance.
I don't know, man. I mean,
do birds cover the Atlantic Ocean in migration? Not whole Atlantic?
No, not the Atlantic, but like they go over like the Gulf.
Yeah, but that's the Gulf though.
Yeah, but still, like that's pretty impressive because some of them will come from like there's like the like Cancun area of Mexico. Like that's not that far, but like some will just come from like southern Mexico and like straight shot it. Like, same thing with like monarch butterflies too. They just like load up on sugar and they go for it. So,
get out of there.
So Mothman was probably just like out in Point Pleasant, just like eating all the blackberries that he can, sucking nectar out of stuff. And he's like, all right, let's go, Chernobyl. I don't know why he turned into Hulk Hogan. Let's go, brother. We're going to Chernobyl.
It makes sense. Now, just like Mothman, again, there's so many Mothman similarities here. There's another potential explanation found in the avian population. So some of these have theorized that the Blackbird of Chernobyl was actually a black stork. Just like Mothman, except for Mothman was like a,
That's exactly what the Men in Black wants you to think.
Yeah. Now, this large bird is about 3 feet tall and sports a wingspan of nearly 6 feet and is known to be in the western and central parts of Europe during the summer. So, not necessarily Ukraine. Ukraine's more of like on the far east side of Europe, but I mean, it's not too crazy to think that one could like veer off its migrational path and end up in Eastern Europe. There's crazier things have happened. And especially considering that this bird isn't normally in the area, I think that actually kind of leads credence to it, because if locals were seeing a bird of this size that is, not normally in this area, well, that'd be pretty noticeable.
Yeah, that's fair. Then it'd definitely be more on your radar than like if it was a bird you were seeing every day.
Yeah, exactly. And this is like the first time you ever see this bird. It's in the middle of the night. I could definitely see people thinking that this is some sort of monster.
Yeah, that's a pretty big bird.
Pretty big bird.
And plus, it was a stork, so it's probably delivering a whole bunch of babies, and that gave it
so many
shape.
babies around it too. Yeah.
But then again, like, kind of with Mothman, the whole headless thing, that shape just doesn't really work.
Doesn't
out.
actually. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Like you'd probably see the stork neck and everything.
Yeah, because I understand like storks have a skinny neck, but it's not like invisible skinny, so you'd still see a very much headed deal.
And I don't know if storks have glowing red eyes.
Well, yeah, so on the red thing, I did notice that I looked up some pictures of these black storks, and they have super red eyes and beaks and legs too. So the only thing is that their eyes are like teeny tiny, and I doubt they glow. But I wouldn't say they're giant by any means, but still red.
Huh. Right.
And the other thing about this explanation is that does not explain anything about the following nightmares or the threatening phone calls people who encountered the creature have claimed to have. So, what do you make of that?
I want to hear some of these nightmares. I'm really curious what they were like. Was it like people dying in nuclear fire, or
that'd be crazy.
Or was it like a show up to school in your underwear kind of thing?
Yeah.
There's a varying degree of nightmares here. Yeah, I would love to see if any of that was out there. That'd be really cool. The phone calls, if you just saw something freaky and you start telling everybody, and you get a call being like, you didn't just see that, I'd be like, oh no, it was real. Oh no.
Yeah, it was real. Like that'd be like one of those moments where your body just feels like cold. Like,
if I'm having these strange phone calls where they're telling me that it definitely didn't happen, then crap, it did. I saw something I shouldn't have.
Yeah, it's funny because if they didn't say that, if they didn't call, you'd probably just like, that's weird, but probably just saying things.
Yeah, the Men in Black are stupid, and the Russian Men in Black, morons.
You know what? F them.
Yeah. Come bring your little bald head over here. No eyebrows.
Oh gosh, okay.
No blinking. Come on over here. See what happens.
Yeah.
You'll get shot. This is rural Louisiana, son.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with no ninnies up there in Point Pleasant. This is Point Rough down here.
Whoo!
Oh man. And that's the last we ever saw of Parker.
Yeah, right. And that was the last episode that goes live. I come back next week and it's just me.
The ratings would go through the roof. Man.
The mystery. It just becomes like one of those true crime mystery podcasts now.
It'd just be you with like a board behind you with red yarn.
Where's Fuzz?
Yeah, it'd be your files of trying to.
And it's like Tommy Lee Jones, Will Smith, and then the middle like a question mark.
Question mark, and then like a random guy that looks like Agent 47. It's just like all of them.
All right. Well, so unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, there's really not a lot on the Chernobyl Blackbird. So that's actually all I've got. So unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, there's really not a lot on the Chernobyl Blackbird. So that's actually all I've got. But I do have a story if you guys want to curl up, fetal position, and wrap a blanket around yourself.
Grab a beer, put on your Snuggie.
Yes.
Hold the loved one.
Anything else?
I was trying to think of them, but I probably shouldn't say them on air. I was gonna say violate the Geneva Convention.
Get one last violation of the Geneva Convention in. All right, so this is the story called "Bird Over Chernobyl." There is going to be a few names in here that are extremely Slavic, and I will struggle. So
awesome. Get
I'm just gonna power through it.
Get you a little bit of that Cherokee vibe. That was rough.
Yeah, exactly. Just like you last week. All right, so Bird Over Chernobyl begins. My mother's name is Yuliva Valentina Kromenko. She just turned 83. Yeah, freaking nailed it. She just turned 23.
She turned 83 and then she reverted back to 20.
Yeah. All right. She just turned 83 this year. My name is Yulana Andreevka Kromenko. I just turned 36 this year, and I currently work as a particle physicist. I was raised in Ukraine and then went to school in America at MIT, where I also did my graduate training. In the same year, I was accepted into my PhD program, last year in 2021. The doctors diagnosed her with Alzheimer's, and the disease only progressed further. I've been losing a bit of my mother every day since. However, there is one thing she still remembers vividly to this day. And when I would help her bathe in the evening, she would grab my arm and tell me about the great catastrophe.
I just want to say, shouldn't have been a physicist. Should have gone for a doctor.
Yeah. Oh,
sorry, Nikolai.
Yeah, probably could have helped someone out there.
Should have gone for neuroscience.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Not doing some little nitty physics. Could have saved your mom, bud.
Not playing around with some I don't even know what physics is. What is physics?
E equals MC whatever. Nobody cares.
Am I right?
Cure Alzheimer's already.
Yeah, like a real doctor. All right, so before the diagnosis, she would never mention what happened, though I was always curious. I was too young to remember as I was still an infant, and everything I knew came from what I learned in school and in documentaries. Nowadays, I would get little bits and pieces of what she and my father, who I've never met, had to endure during that time. The following was collected and stitched together from my recollections over a year of her telling me her story, little by little. She was 48 when the great catastrophe happened. The year was 1986, and I was born in Pripyat, Ukraine. My mother was a pediatric hermit. Oh, God.
A pediatric hermit. She only worked with kids, but only way off in the woods alone.
Yeah. Only away from civilization. My mother was a pediatric hematologist working at Pripyat City Hospital number 26, located at Druzhby Narodov Street on the outskirts of Pripyat. She was a woman of sparkling intelligence, having scored the highest on her board exams in the Oblast. I don't know.
What is an Oblast?
I don't know what an Oblast is.
It sounds like some fire frozen drink from a fast food place.
Yeah, right. It sounds like an Oreo flurry or a milkshake.
One of those places has a blast, right?
The Blizzard, right?
No. There's a blast. Sonic Blast.
Sonic Blast, yeah. All right. So, which according to her, there you go. Which according to her, is what made my father, a fireman, fall in love with her. And I, for audio listeners, I held up my beer, which has fireman written on the side. I was born in 1985, and for the year of my life... I was born in 1985, and for the year after, my mother was on her paid maternity leave to care for me. She told me that she began having nightmares beginning in March. It was terrifying, she recounted in Russian as I bathed her one night. Your father found me screaming and sweating. He asked me, "What's wrong, Yulia?" And I was screaming, "The smoke and the fire, the people's faces disfigured and peeling from burns. I saw hell. Your father took the rest of the night to calm me down. I was so exhausted I could barely get up to nurse you, darling."
Ugh.
Yeah, that's gnarly.
Yeah.
My mother told me that she would get these nightmares repeatedly, but it was more or less the same thing, a hellscape of smoke and fire with people's skins burning off and peeling like burnt paper. In our apartment complex, we soon found out that she wasn't the only person having the exact nightmare. The neighbors who worked at their power plant also reported having these truly terrifying nightmares. Yuri, who worked at the power plant, his wife told me over coffee one day that his husband had been waking up, screaming at night. I told her...
Why was he having wife with this guy's... Why was he having coffee with this guy's wife?
Oh, I think the speaker here is a lady.
Yeah.
I'm not doing
there
it.
I go again, assuming genders.
God dang it.
Go back to DEI training. Go back to DEI.
Yeah. Right, so his wife told me over coffee that one day her husband had been waking up screaming at night. I told her, what a silly thought, a grown man screaming like a child at night. But she was completely serious. What her husband had dreamt, there was a look of sheer terror on his face, and she never wanted to see that again. When she told me the dream, the smoke and the fire, I told her that's strange, and that is what I dreamt the night before and the week before that. The dreams became so intense that my father recommended that we see a psychiatrist. When I went to see the psychiatrist, Dr. Sixtikov, I believe, he wrote me a prescription for some long medicine name for my nerves. And as I was about to leave the office with the prescription, he told me, you know, it's strange that you had that dream. I've had people come to me this week describing the same nightmare as you just described to me. I said, really? Has Yuri come to see you as well? He responded, not just Yuri. Several other men from Chernobyl have come to see me as well. What was strange is that the second week of April...
That sounds like a HIPAA violation right there. He's like, let me tell you what my other clients have been saying.
Oh my God, there's been other people that had the exact same affliction as you. This guy. You should talk to him about it.
Yeah, by the way, Yuri has a weird addiction. Nikolai is an alcoholic, closeted. It's like all this other stuff.
And you will not believe the stuff that Vladimir's gotten into.
He's like, I've told everybody about what you got going
on. Yeah.
And they all make fun of your anxiety. Isn't that funny?
They all say, get over it. So what was strange is that by the second week of April, those nightmares suddenly stopped, and that's when the phone calls began. One day, while your father was at work, the phone rang. When I picked up, nobody spoke. What I could hear was breathing, heavy breathing. I said into the phone, who is this? Is this a prank? Please don't call back. However, the phone calls came every other day, and it was just 20 seconds of heavy breathing, no words, and then whoever was on the other line would just hang up.
That's
pretty creepy.
That. Yeah, that's one of those things that gets the hair on the back of my neck.
Yeah, I felt that too. Yeah,
just the heavy breathing. Nope. Don't like that.
So the next weekend, while she was driving home with my father from the cinema, she saw something that caught her eye in the distance. She says, it was something floating above the trees. I couldn't see it very clearly from the car window, but from the distance it looked tiny. But if you factor in how far away it was, the thing must have been humongous, with wings the size of a small building or maybe a bus. I remembered that it instilled this primal fear and dread within me, and I told your father, look, I think there's something over there, above the trees. He said, over where? That's where the power plant is. He wouldn't believe me when I said I saw a winged bird with glowing red eyes flying in circles around one of the towers. He dismissed me as being a woman with her delusions, but I knew what I saw.
Good old 80s Soviets.
Yeah.
Stupid woman, I'm trying to drink and drive.
You're having one of your delusions. Is that from New York? Hey, you're having one of your delusions here.
Welcome to Chernobyl.
I've never been able to do accents. All right.
I noticed that at the end of my accent, I went slightly vampire, and you picked it up and you ran with it like it was a relay race, the Olympics. He said, "Welcome."
Oh God, that is so funny. All right. Yuri's wife reported that he had seen the same thing walking one night to the bus from work. Yuri's wife said to me, Yuri's been saying that he's been seeing this gremlin, some kind of giant winged bat with red eyes floating circles around block number 4. I tell you, he's playing some kind of game. I said to him, a giant winged bat with glowing eyes? Yeah, right. I saw the Baba Yaga at the shops the other night. But he was completely serious, even scared.
Huh.
I saw the Baba Yaga the other night. How about that?
Is that like a common phrase?
Well, it's the Russian witch, so it's just like a...
Yeah. I know what it is, but I'm just curious if like If Slavic people are like, oh, yeah, and I saw Baba
And I saw the Baba Yaga. Waka waka.
Man, none of the younger audience is going to get that.
Yeah, right. Anybody under 30 is not going to get that one. But my thought on that is more of just like a general like, oh yeah, and I saw the Wolfman at the supermarket. You know, just being what's the term? Sarcastic.
And I saw a girl with beautiful pale skin. I saw her veins. There was one vein. 2 blackbirds of Chernobyl.
I like this. How Transylvanian this Russian accent's become.
3 Slavic babies held by a blackbird.
3 communist agendas.
4 monuments to Stalin.
All right. I remember that night you wouldn't stop crying, so I was up one night in the morning trying to get you to sleep. It was a little before the half hour I suddenly felt the ground moving like an earthquake. It startled me so much that I nearly fell back. I feared that there was a war had started. Maybe the Americans had dropped a bomb on us, so I ran to the window. I could see that coming.
Is that something that Ukrainians were scared of at the time?
Yeah. Well, friendly reminder for our viewers, the Cold War went both ways. A lot of the Soviet people were just as afraid of us as we were of them.
Yeah, there was the Red Scare, and over there was the Red, White, and Blue Scare.
Yeah, there you go.
Doing a 4.5 gigaton message of freedom.
Gosh. All right, so I could see that coming from Chernobyl was this bright flash that quickly faded. Dogs were barking like mad around the neighborhood, and then when the light faded, I could see this blue, glowing beam that just shot straight up into the sky like floodlights. And that's real. That's actually what happened after that. My mother then got a call at 6 o'clock the next morning from the chief physician at the hospital. Dr. Vitali was on the phone, and he said to me, "Comrade Dr. Kominko, I understand you are on maternity leave, but something has happened. There's been an influx of patients from the power plant, and we are short of doctors and nurses. We need all the help we can get. I had to leave you and Yuri's wife while I grabbed my white coat and my purse and left for the hospital." Oh, that's the mom talking to the daughter there at that point. When I got to the hospital, it was a bedlam. What's a bedlam?
Huh.
It means to beat or bang. Well, that doesn't help. All right. It was a bang.
That sounds not like 1986. That sounds like 1950s. There was a bedlam outside.
Yeah, right.
Those hooligans were starting a bunch of bedlams.
Yeah. No. There was an ambulance and people everywhere. People were helping men up the stairs. Something collapsed up in the stairs and were vomiting. They were still hauling people down on stretchers in an ambulance when I got into the hospital. I could barely move through the doors. They were so crammed full of people. I said to Paulina, a nurse that was walking in with me, "Where'd all these people come from?" She said, "Something happened at the power plant last night." I said, "What? Was that what I felt?" She said, "Yes, I think that there was an accident." Everywhere in the halls there were men from the plant, still in their uniforms with burned, sooted faces and arms. It was a ghastly sight. I was treating this young fireman, and I recognized that his arms and face were covered in radiation burns. He was groaning in such pain and sweating so profusely, and I asked him, "Where the hell were you guys able to receive these radiation burns?" He could barely answer me. The poor fellow just looked up so feverish and said, "I was putting out the fire. We need to get these clothes off you immediately." And then she calls for a nurse. I wait for the nurses so that they came to take the boots and the coat off the man, and then they took him down to the basement of the hospital to throw away. As he took off his jacket, I realized that it was the same company as your father. I went to the head nurse and I asked, "Have you guys seen my husband?" A nurse from behind her raised her hand and said, "Yes, I've seen him. He's in the burn ward 29. It's actually 28. I don't know why I said 29.
Nice. Words are hard.
Yes, he's in the burn ward 28. I ran down the halls and up the stairs. Your father was lying in the room filled with the other firemen and the porch plant workers by then. No, in the power plant.
He was wearing
the potted plant workers.
He was wearing his porch pants.
Yeah. Your father was very relaxed. I ran down the halls and up the stairs. Your father was lying in the room filled with other firemen and the power plant workers. By then, they had set up these blue plastic curtains, and I had to go and touch his skin. Oh, and I had to go in to touch his skin. His skin was marbled and red, and they felt oily and damp with his blood and his sweat. His lips were so swollen. The white sheets were stained yellow from his body. He looked horribly disfigured.
Ugh.
He looked like the horribly disfigured faces I'd seen in my nightmares weeks before, and he could barely breathe. He just wheezed. He was in so much pain.
I don't like that it was yellow.
Yeah, no, dude, you gotta watch that Chernobyl show because there's like depictions of this, and it's
No,
like,
I'm not watching
dude.
that.
Yeah, no, it's hard, but it's like, I don't know.
Oh, I'm gonna come home and watch something nice and friendly.
Yeah, that's true.
Something joyful.
Yeah.
I don't want to see yellow people with swollen lips gasping.
Literally fall like melting. It's crazy.
Nope.
But at this moment, my mother fell silent and began to weep. It's okay. You don't have to keep going on. Her eyes welled with tears. She sniffled and then continued. He couldn't even turn his head. I was there and I said to him, Andre, my beloved Andre, my darling Andre, look at you. Look at what they've done to you. He spoke so hoarsely, and every word was painful, I could tell. Yuli, my dear, you look pretty today. The rocks, they were so hot, and I'm afraid my hands are pretty burnt. How's our baby? I remember when I grabbed his hand and smiled, though the tears fell from my face. Yuli couldn't stop crying last night. She was crying for you, for her father. Don't worry, he said, coughing up blood. Papa will be home soon. He was just delirious from the morphine. I was called back to duty soon after, and that was the last time I saw him. The nurses told me he passed away a few hours later. We were later told on the state news and television that there was only a minor incident, and some block had been damaged by the roof on the power plant. And the rumors of the disaster were lies propagated by the Western media. But I knew what I saw. I knew the look. I knew what took your father, and it was like whatever happened weeks before, the nightmares, the phone calls, the thing that flew over the power station was a foreboding harbinger of a hell that was to come. I knew it, Yuri knew it too. He'd been getting the same phone calls and saw the same flying bird. I was lucky enough. I heard from his wife a while later that he had died from the poisoning, painfully and slowly, several months after the disaster. Your father's body had not even touched the ground when we were told to leave Pripyat for a temporary evacuation. On the streets, we saw these long lines of buses. There were soldiers everywhere, and men and women with strollers, with babies, and school children. There were military trucks with speakers, and this woman's voice telling us to close our windows and turn off our taps. There were other trucks and men in white suits that covered up their entire bodies, and they were spraying the streets with water. I packed our belongings into a single suitcase and with you in the stroller, we left our apartment block for Druzhby Nardov, for the buses to Kiev. We never returned. My mother kept my father's picture, him in a ushanka with a red star on his uniform, by her nightstand. The walnut frame was always dusted and maintained in pristine state. I had never heard about or what happened to him growing up, only that he died even before I learned to walk. A while after, I decided to move my mother in with me to Boston as I worked on my PhD. A couple weeks later, I decided to book a flight to Kiev so we could take the bus to Pripyat. Jerry actually said that it would help her remember to walk through the ruins of the town that she once lived. I pushed her in a wheelchair as we walked through the husk of a town, the wind scraping the leaves across the cracked concrete. We saw the Ferris wheel, rusting and wilting with the bumper cars.
I like that there has to be a carnival. Make it creepier.
Yeah.
Was Soviet Russia having carnivals?
They were, yeah. There's a carnival in Pripyat. Or like an amusement park. Yeah.
All right. Well, good job, Stalin.
Yeah.
Excellent. There's carnivals.
We walked by a government... Wait, that's well after Stalin, dude.
Yeah, whatever.
That's like well after Stalin.
Wasn't it like... Lenin, right?
I think that Lenin was before Stalin. Yeah, he died in 1924.
Lenin?
Oh, Gorbachev.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Anyways,
good job, Gorbachev.
We saw. Yeah, good job.
Carnivals.
You're keeping people happy there.
Bumper cars in Soviet Russia. Learn something today.
Well, do you not remember the Ferris wheel and Call of Duty 4? That one, like, all gillied up mission?
Yeah.
That takes place in Chernobyl.
I never...
50,000 people used to call this place home. Now it's a ghost town.
I never took that into consideration.
Yeah, same place.
I was too busy sneaking through the grass.
Yeah, I know. Priorities.
Yeah.
We walked by the government building. The hammer and sickle had since cracked and fell to the ground. We walked by the Palace of Culture, the hospital, and finally, the Geiger counters beeped insistently. We viewed the metal sarcophagus from the river, gleaming in the sun. And that's actually what it's called. There's like above the plant now, or like around the plant, they've built what's called a sarcophagus that shields the radiation from continuing to leak out of the meltdown plant. The melted down plant.
I wonder how well it works.
I guess decently well. People can go there now, so.
Huh.
Yeah. I smiled at the river and twinkled in the sun. I am going to be working here as a scientist. She grinned, beaming with pride. Ah, that's marvelous, darling. Your father is going to be so proud when he hears of this. She stared across the river eastward. The wheelchair began to shake, and her eyes began to quiver with tears. Mamoshka, is there something wrong? My mother, her hand trembling, began to point in the distance. She stammered at first, then began to whisper, and what she said still sends chills down the neck to this day. The bird, the creature I saw in Chernobyl, I just saw it flying towards us from there. And then it says something in Russian. I can't tell.
Wait. Like, was she having a memory, or was it actively coming towards them?
I don't know, man. That's the end of the story.
Ugh.
I'm gonna imagine it's coming towards them because that's cooler.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go translate whatever this means.
Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Your friend Mowgli.
Glory to Ukraine. So yeah, that is the story of the bird of Chernobyl.
I always hate when you're like talking about burn stuff or radiation stuff, and they say peeling off skin.
It's gnarly, dude. Gnarly.
I don't like it.
That's what I'm telling you. That Chernobyl show, you see like the first hand, because I've always heard about the Chernobyl disaster, but until I saw that show and you could actually see a depiction of what was happening to those people, you don't realize the gravity of it.
Yeah, I don't like burning alive stuff. You know, wildland fire. There's always a
naturally
chance there.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Parker is a certified wildlife, like what is it, wildfire certified or something like that.
Wildland firefighter.
Wildland firefighter. Yeah.
Yeah, where you don't get all the big fireproof stuff and hoses. You get maybe
lots of buckets.
No, not buckets. You get a long sleeve shirt, long sleeve pants, a hard hat. If you're lucky, you get a saw, but most of the time you have like a hoe or a rake, and you just go out there and you're just digging line.
Oh, I see. So it doesn't continue to spread.
Yeah. It's rough.
I'm sure.
But yeah, I don't like burning alive stuff.
Yeah, pretty freaky.
I'm not drunk, but I just absolutely dropped my beer on the floor.
I was about to say, did you just full on drop it?
Yes, I did.
Did you need to pick it up? Are you okay?
I've got it. I'm
no, but is there like, do you need to clean up the ground?
What the wife doesn't know, the wife doesn't know.
Yeah.
What the landlord doesn't know, the landlord doesn't know.
Oh, it sounds like it's fine.
It's almost empty. Yeah, I think it's just like slightly, there's condensation. I was just like
a
chatting and loosely
slippery.
holding on to it. Just went, shoop.
It slipped on out. But yeah, so there you have it. That's all I've got on the Blackbird of Chernobyl. And I'm sorry, there really isn't much on this subject, but I do find the Chernobyl disaster super interesting. And just the fact that there's like a cryptid connection to it just makes it all the more interesting to me. And I personally thought that this one was going to be something more along the lines of like some sort of mutated creature that came out of the exclusion zone as like a result from all the contamination and what do they call it, radionuclides.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We should make a hoax.
So that's what I was saying. I said, yeah, like there'd be like these sightings of this bizarre creature, and then scientists head in for research, and it becomes some sort of like campfire story told amongst like the people in the area. And I think that'd be so freaking rad. And now I want to write a book because I think that'd be cool.
Bet you won't. But yeah, we should go out there to Ukraine and well, maybe not right now. Give it like
maybe not right now.
Give it like 5 years. We'll head out there and we'll make a hoax. We'll make some cooler cryptid. It just won't be a Mothman knockoff.
Yeah, we're gonna do something original. Okay.
Yeah, stupid Soviets. Get your own ideas.
Stupid Soviets. Okay. So somebody over there like read some newspaper about Mothman over in Point Pleasant. Like, oh,
this is
I want
good.
that. Yeah.
I make hoax.
But
I guarantee after this episode, the Russian Men in Black are coming for me.
Yeah.
Either the Soviet government or the Men in Black or a mix of both are definitely going to yoink me from my own home.
Yeah, you're going to get a phone call this week and it's be like, you must stop.
Your commentary is humorous, but you must stop.
Yeah. We do not want your blood.
Yes. I'm going to give you to the count of 3 to stop. 1. 2. Chance to stop.
3. Off to the gulag. All right, do you have any closing thoughts on the Blackbird and Chernobyl? No.
I would like to think there was something spooky going on. I would like to think the Mothman crossed the ocean and
well, I like to think that there's not just one,
but a whole family.
Yeah, okay, sure,
family,
but more like a
each
species, like in the same way how we'll talk about Bigfoot at some point, but the same way how with like Bigfoots, there's like
Bigfoot,
potentially multiple because there's like all across America, all across the world. So I like the idea of there being not just a single Mothman, but 2 Mothmen.
Yeah, and instead of Shine, he drinks vodka.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to think there was something there, but it might have just been. I'm wondering about the chances of them going through this traumatic thing and then like reverting back, being like, "Oh, there was weird stuff leading up to it," kind of like weird trauma mind tricks.
Yeah,
because that's
like
a pretty freaky.
You did
thing
happen to have a
through.
nightmare, and then all of a sudden your nightmare is now about this as opposed to being just a random nightmare.
Yeah, because I guarantee, like after you saw that, you probably had nightmares.
You got some freaking trauma. Oh my god, I can't imagine.
Well, not
how
just
they would
trauma,
get
but
past that.
like you could have had a nightmare before it happened, but then seeing these people with like their skin sloughing off. I mean, yeah, you're probably gonna have nightmares after that. Even
God, what a gross word.
Experience. I know, that's exactly why.
Yeah. Yeah, I shook as hearing that.
I quivered.
Oh gosh. I said, who?
Huh?
I was like, who?
Oh.
I had a little shiver.
I thought you turned into an owl, which might
Is
be
it?
Mothman.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
But yeah, if you saw people with their skin just sloughing off, you're definitely gonna be having some nightmares after that.
Yeah,
So
no, you're messed up
like
after that.
total trauma response, or I don't know. The mind does freaky things whenever it's under a lot of stress or a lot of trauma. So they could have totally been like, "Oh, this, yeah, I totally saw this coming because I saw this big black bird."
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that, and it's also kind of weird that we don't have a lot of information on it.
There's very little information on it. I was only able to find, I think, I'm looking at my notes here, 3 actual articles on it. And so very, very little information.
I was going to say it might be because, like USSR, but then again, like we know.
Oh my god, they freaking silenced it, bro.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Gorbachev knows. Let's go find his basement. Go find his brain in Gorbachev's basement, frozen. Extract the little memories. And we'll find out. I'd like to think that Gorbachev is like Russian Walt Disney.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he's frozen somewhere still.
in an amusement park that they supposedly had.
Supposedly he's chilling at like Putin's like little freezer or something.
Futurama, he's like in a glass jar. Can still talk, interact.
Oh my God, Putin's a puppet? It's been Gorbachev all along.
You better be quiet, boy.
Yeah, I know, right? All right. Well, it's been nice living, guys.
This has been Legends of the Loggers. If you don't see us again, come find us in Siberia.
You can find us in death.
I would prefer Siberia to the temperatures in Louisiana right now.
Oh, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
All right. So next week we're going to be heading back to the U.S. and we're going to tackle the Ozark Howler. And I don't know if you've heard of this one before either, Fuzz, but this creature is described as being a bear-like creature with black shaggy hair, red eyes, and prominent horns.
Ooh.
It's going to be super cool. Yeah,
I like that he has horns.
Yeah, I like these ones where it's kind of like a not crazy monstrous, because that seems pretty. Chimera, yeah, because it's like a combination of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's gonna be super cool. Please check in next week. We'll have a new episode out on Monday, and be sure to check us out on social media. It's gonna be at Legends and Loggers.
Yeah.
Oh, and then also I want to take a second. This is the first episode that's come out since we've gone live, and I don't know about you, Fuzz. We're doing better than I thought we were gonna do in the first week. So.
Yeah, I fully expected for us to sit here at 0 viewers
for a bit.
Years.
So yeah, thank you guys for listening. All of you guys out there, like seriously, that's awesome. We really appreciate you guys.
And yeah, we have a lot of fun filming. I see on camera, even off camera. I mean, we're cracking
up. Yeah,
yeah. There's a lot of jokes that can't even make the cut. Yeah, but yeah, we have a good time with it. And we appreciate everyone that watches, listens, subscribes, does whatever to interact, comment, email.
And if you leave reviews, that just helps us out a ton. So if you're enjoying the show 4 episodes in, if you're still here, please consider leaving a review and spread the word.
If you leave us a 5-star review, I will send you a gift. Just kidding. That was a lie. But you still should anyway.
You know what? If you leave a 5-star review, screenshot and email it to us. It's legends@wohlstein.media. We will send you something back as an email. We'll have one of us send you a drawing, okay?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
You better hope it's not me.
Well, I didn't say it was going to be good, but it'll be a drawing though.
Yeah, we'll mail it to you. Snail mail.
Yeah. We're not shipping anything out.
Oh, I'm shipping.
Email.
Oh, okay. We just made a commitment.
Yeah.
We might back out on it. You shouldn't do it because there's a prize. You should do it because you love the show. Of your heart.
Yeah. You should do it because you take pity on us.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
We're just a bunch of dudes. We're just some guys.
It's some guys.
We're some internet guys. Don't trust us. You remember all those videos in elementary school? Don't trust us.
The videos?
Well, like Stranger Danger online.
Safety. Oh yes. Okay, yeah.
No, don't trust us.
Just internet safety.
Just leave a review.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and stay wild.
Yeah, and live life legendary.